Welcome to Bravo-Yah or Bravo-O-No. This review is what happened on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 12, Episode 4. This episode begins with Nene, Cynthia, Eva, and Marlo all participating in the World Bride Parade in New York City, riding on the Bravo float along with other city housewives and other people from different Bravo shows. Nene and Cynthia have not been getting along, and both knew they were going to be running into each other and seeing each other on the float, so it wasn't unusual that they exchanged chilled hellos when they saw each other. After saying hello to Cynthia, Nene kept walking and she hugged Kelly Dodd from The Real Housewives of Orange County. Then she turned around to go back. She saw Noelle, Cynthia's daughter, and spoke to her briefly and was nice to her. And as she walked by Cynthia said that Nene had looked nice, and Nene returned the sentiments. And then Cynthia just said that she was really happy that she had talked to Nene. And then Nene did an interview on the show and said that she'd always have love for Cynthia and that she would speak to her whenever she saw her. It seemed like Cynthia and her daughter Noelle really bonded that time on the float. They've gotten very close, and Cynthia's very supportive of Noelle and what she wants to do and whoever she wants to end up being with. It was really nice to see people from some of the other Bravo shows too getting together on the float. There was Reza, Patricia, Margaret, I think I saw Leanne, Melissa, Sonia, Captain Sandy, Dorinda, the Gay Shark, and the King himself, Andy Cohen, just to name a few. While on the float, Nene saw Marlo coming down the street and yelled to her to come up and get onto the float. And so she did. She went up there and they started talking. Eva saw Marlo coming up as well and told Cynthia that Nene's lapdog had arrived. Cynthia then proceeded to tell Eva that she had told Nene that she looked nice when she saw her earlier, and Eva called her a liar. I will have to say, Eva was funny though when she gave a 1-to-1 interview for the show when she said, "It's all love until the pride is over." After the event was over, Cynthia and Eva went out to eat, and when they sat down at the table, Eva wondered why there was an extra menu there, and Cynthia told her that she had been invited to eat from Marlo, who was going to be coming. Eva was not happy at all about that. So when Marlo arrived, Eva packed up her food and said goodbye to Cynthia and went downstairs and ate the rest of her food down at the bar in the restaurant. Once Eva left, Marlo started talking about Eva having no money again. They made some small talk with each other, and then Marlo asked Cynthia if she had talked to Nene lately. And Cynthia told her, "Now Marlo, I have not talked to Nene." But Marlo said, "Well, you've talked to her today." So Marlo really wants Nene and Cynthia to make up. So she was talking to Cynthia, but Cynthia said that she feels like she's always the one that has to take the high road. Wanted her to know that she still has love for Nene. Cynthia was pleased with Marlo, though, that she was wanting everybody to get along, especially her and Nene. So, still in New York the next day, Nene is in a restaurant waiting for Marlo to arrive. Marlo does arrive, and she shows up. She's wearing a sequins jumpsuit, and she sits down. They're having playful conversation, just chit-chatting, and then Marlo tries to talk Nene into eating some octopus, which that did not happen. And then Marlo asked Nene if she remembered that she had met with Cynthia the day before, and Nene said she had, and she said that the conversation was partly about her and Cynthia and that she wants them to get along. And Nene tries to explain to Marlo that she feels like if she apologizes and takes the responsibility, that people will think she's assuming the whole responsibility, and so therefore she said that that's not going to happen, and she's upset. She said that Cynthia's been on every news channel or show and every radio station talking about how she thinks Nene is a toxic friend to her. So then Marlo proceeds to say that she thinks that they're both wrong and they need to work it out. Nene told her that it was a personal issue and talking wasn't going to happen. Marlo then said that Nene owed Cynthia an apology, and that was it for Nene. She got up from the table and started to head out while Marlo was saying, "Are you really going to go? Is that how it's going to be?" And so Marlo got up and followed her through the restaurant. Nene went outside and and was getting ready to leave, and Marlo was yelling for her not to leave her, but Nene did. So then leaving New York and going back to Atlanta, where Candy, Portia, and Kenya were still there, Portia visited Dr. Sherry and discussed her feelings about Dennis's cheating, and now she's trying to figure out her own feelings and how she's going to deal with it and what she's going to do and what's going to be best for her baby PJ. This episode also deals with Portia returning to her job after her maternity leave and her first day back at work. She ended up taking baby PJ with her. Her work said that she could do that, and it went really good. They even put PJ on the show, and she was really happy. Portia really said everything went well. Her big thing then is she's got to try to find a nanny. It's got to be somebody that's flexible that can go between her and Dennis, and she feels like that will help her not have to see Dennis as much so that she can figure out what she's going to do. This episode also takes us to Candy, Todd, and their son Ace to the surrogate's doctor appointment. Their baby is due in November, and they want Ace to be a part of, the baby's process and see the ultrasound so he gets a better understanding of what's happening when all of a sudden a baby is brought into the home. They talk to him about what process is going to be after the baby's born right away, and during this conversation, Candy gets a text message from Kenya that she's upset and wanted her to come over. Once the appointment was over, Candy went over to see Kenya to see what was going on with her. She had visited Kenya earlier in the episode, and Kenya had started to open up a little bit about the marital problems that she was having. However, she didn't go into a lot of detail at that time. So when Candy went this time to see how Kenya was doing, Kenya did open up a lot more, and she actually was very vulnerable. She told Candy that she had gone on the anniversary that her and Mark were supposed to go on alone with their daughter Brooklyn, because they had been fighting a lot more lately, and I guess there was some sort of issue as to whether the nanny would go or not go, and so Mark ended up not going and Kenya went. Kenya just really opened up to Candy about how her and Mark have been fighting and they're just not on the same page, and sometimes he has crossed the lines. And there is a part in the episode at this time where a producer asks Kenya, when she's doing a one-on-one interview with him, some of the specifics of what Mark had said to her, and Kenya just replied that she couldn't say it and she didn't want to revisit it. Candy tried to comfort Kenya, but Kenya was really upset, and she got up. She didn't want to cry, probably on the cameras. She went in her bedroom, and then Candy, on kind of a one-to-one interview, said that she really just didn't realize that Kenya thought that her relationship with Mark was toxic to their daughter. So to recap the episode, World Pride, that went great. Didn't see any real true problems there. Nene and Cynthia, they're still on the outs, with Nene revealing that Cynthia thinks that it's a toxic friendship, and Kenya stating that her relationship's toxic for their child. Portia dealing with the cheating and aftermath and trying to figure out what she's going to do and going back to work. Candy, soon to be a mom via her surrogate, and Kenya was in tears over her marital problems. Eva's pregnant. She is eating a lot and she's on the outs with Marlo. So, all this being said, the housewife for this episode that kept it real is going to have to go to Kenya, because Kenya has been open and showing her vulnerability, which is typically not Kenya fashion. So, for this episode of Bravo-Yah or Brav-o-No, this episode is going to get a Bravo-No, because Kenya's marriage is in big trouble and there still was no resolution to any of the squabbles that were going on between the different ladies' friendship. Until next time, folks.